Welcome back. Everyone around you or someone in your family at this point has been scammed or has been at the receiving end of a scam call, a scam messenger. It all started with the show Jamtara, but now it's become a reality here. They work in terms of accusing you of a grave crime. They instill fear in your minds with just one sentence: you are under digital arrest. And then say goodbye to your life savings in the entire process. Under the pretense of a digital arrest, a term which obviously has no existence in Indian laws, is fabricated by perpetrators. Victims are coerced into leaving their work, surrendering their daily freedoms, and comply with non-stop surveillance and instructions of strangers. This is not happening just in real life, but on a phone. Just imagine, that's not it. These strangers are so convincing that they make victims feel like they're at the center of a grave investigation, and if they don't cooperate, they will be put behind bars. To sum up, these conmen impersonate law enforcement officials over calls, threat victims over fake charges, and extort large sum of money from them. And here's the kicker: 120 crores of Indian money has been lost to the digital arrest menace just between January and April this year, and more than 40% of the scams have been traced back to Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, East Asian countries. Digital arrests are among the most reported cyber crimes in the country today, and such is the state that even the Prime Minister had to caution the countrymen, saying that there is no system like digital arrest under the law and that vigilance is the only vaccine to survive. In fact, the NIA today has conducted massive searches across 6 states to crack down on the growing digital arrest scams. At least 22 locations have been raided by the agency which handles counter-terrorism and cyber crime enforcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at Mirror now and urging you to be safe and vigilant, because a call and a click can give you, like many of us, a lifetime of regret. And to understand more as to how you can be safe, Savdhan Rahe, Satak Rahe, as they say, I'm being joined by Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP of UP, but I'm also being joined by a power-packed panel of people who understand cyber security very well indeed. Pavan Duggal is joining me, Shri Parthasarthi, and also I'm being joined by Ritesh Bhatia at this point. Ritesh Bhatia, let me come with you first. Isn't it a bit astounding that in a country, a fraud term like a digital arrest has become such common parlance that even now, when an innocent person is told that you are under digital arrest, the instantaneous reaction is not कि digital arrest होता क्या है, ऐसा कुछ चीज हो भी कि नहीं है. The first response is, oh my God, what do I do now? And that immediately is the first battle that is lost to the scammer.
True. So Ritangshu, how it is happening is, the moment when you get a call, the panic starts over here. So it is all with the particular panic, with that one particular phone call that you're getting, wherein, it says that your number is being misused to do certain hawala transactions, or that, there is drugs in your parcel or something else. Like, we are calling from the Mumbai High Court, and now these are like automated messages. This is from the IVR. Press 1 to know more, press 9 to speak to the officer. So there are things. So sometimes people, out of curiosity also, they go and press 9 to speak to somebody, and that is where the bait lies all about. Even if you have, like, you know that you've not done anything, but the way these people talk to you, because they have all your information. They say, isn't this your Aadhaar number? Isn't this your PAN number? Isn't this bank account number? They know your parents' name, your spouse's name, your children's name. And why the term digital arrest? Because they tell the the victim that please lock the room right away. Otherwise, we are also going to arrest the other family people. So this guy who, out of curiosity, this victim out of curiosity, who went and picked up the call, and answered it just to know what it is, now actually has bitten the bait, and now he is in complete control of those perpetrators as such. And the fear that because the fear is because that this thing will also happen to his parents. I mean, they will come and arrest his parents also, or his child also. Just in the evening, I was speaking to a lady who's around about 65-year-old, and she's lost 6 crores recently. And for 3 good days, she had locked herself in the room for 3 good days. And just imagine, such an educated, a highly educated person, she also fell prey to it. So it is just not, that people are not falling prey. They are falling prey, and they're losing crores and crores of rupees. Lakhs is now really not a number to be spoken about. It is actually all crores of rupees. Ritangshu.
It is bizarre. It's mind-boggling here. One specific aspect that you raised, Ritesh, is mind-boggling, and I'd like to get Shri Parthasati at this point. Shri, as Ritesh pointed out, these scamsters come very well prepared. They know your name, they know the names of your family members, they know your bank account details, they know your PAN details, they know your Aadhaar card details. They're very well versed as to where you stay, what you do, and all those things. Does this not indicate the extent to which data breaches are common and possible in the country, that a scamster can completely find out my entire kundali respect completely and completely trap me in this digital chakravyuh, which will force me to believe that of course the scammer is legitimate, because how else will someone know all my data? Shri Patsati, you're on mute, so you'll have to unmute. I beg your pardon.
Ritanshu, I think what I would like to say is I think most Indians today are very prolific in when it comes to the internet. That is one. And there's so much that they put out there in terms of their personal information. But at the same time, I think we are still not at that stage where we are making privacy a complete in terms of the rulings and all things in terms of protecting our citizens. But I think let's focus on the challenge. Today, if I need to get your data, I don't need to do data theft. I don't need to do a data breach. Today, most of us, if we are asked for information, whether it is for banking, whether it is for legal, whether it is for any other kind of government regulated body where we need to give information, we are forced to give that information. And when the question is asked, hey, should I give you this information? The question is, take it or leave it. So that means what happens is when you're looking at your points of identity, which may be your PAN, your Aadhaar, your photograph, your address, all of that information is already out there. And I think for somebody to troll and get that information, they don't need a data breach. They just need to troll you. They need to
Yeah,
basically look up your name, look up a lot of information, do some level of correlation of information, and they can pretty much capture all of that particular information. I think the fundamental issue is we are not protecting our citizens from this particular challenge because we were in a very paper-based world, and we are still there in many particular cases. We have moved to the digital world, and a lot of that particular information today exists
yeah,
in multiple files, multiple folders, and all things. So anybody who gets access to that information, and it's not data breach, right? It's somebody selling a folder to somebody and saying that, hey, take it away. Today, if you go to
exactly.
any big office, they take a lot of information about you on that register. Do you know what happens to that register? That register predominantly gets sold to marketing
No,
agencies, which is what it is. So data is freely sold here in India, so you don't really need to do a data breach. It is readily available. You can correlate all of this particular information. And as the previous speaker, Ritesh, talked about, you can create a complete fingerprint or a footprint of that particular individual, understanding all of his social connections, all of his financials, all of his movements, and everything. And then once you do that, you go to them very, very specific. And then now you have AI. You can also create
so
fake
scary.
videos, fake voice things, which you can basically present to them during this particular digital eras, which will only make them that much more fearful in terms of what is happening.
So scary. The other most scary aspect about this, Pavan Duggal, I'll bring you here at this point. So far, the notion was, and a bit classist, is that these are uneducated people who work from a place like Jamtara and so and so. They are localized, they're going with low stakes games and all. But the revelation coming in that these calls are coming in from East Asian countries, like Laos, like from Myanmar, like Cambodia. Does that really indicate that these are international gangs operating, or is it just a very clever cloaking mechanism that makes these calls seem as if they are from these countries?
Well, very clearly we have to understand that
Pavan
cyber
Duggalji, that
criminals
question was
are
to you.
extensively hiding behind the cloak of so-called... Yeah, hi, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, please go on.
I'm
Please go
trying to
on.
say that, look, cyber criminals are going ahead and trying... Yeah, cyber criminals are going ahead and trying to hide behind the cloak of anonymity And for that, they're often using very, very sophisticated tools, whether it's virtual private networks, whether it's scrapers who are trying to obliterate their electronic footprints. But let's be very, very clear. Digital arrest is not just happening from East African countries or East Asian countries. A large chunk of cybercrime as a cottage industry has started focusing on digital arrest in the Indian context. So it's Indians who are going ahead and doing this. So don't expect the so-called police officer in policeman's uniform who's talking on the call is somebody who's from East Asia. He's very much an Indian. He's a part of that particular gang. And today, because they are able to go ahead and profile people at large, they are able to come up with such convincing clarity that a person would invariably be in a state of fear and panic. So I think they have realized the fact that the law is deficient. They know there's nothing known as digital arrest in the country, but yet they have been successful in creating a fear psychosis, because they are saying, look, ever since the new criminal laws of the country have come in from 1st of July 2024, this is now allowing the law enforcement agencies to digitally arrest you. And most of the people would tend to bite this particular bullet. So the idea is we have to sensitize people. Arrest happens physically under law. The law does not allow use of any technology for arresting purposes. The IT Act is silent on digital arrest. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is silent on digital arrest. So the thumb rule is anybody trying to put a fear or panic or scare in your mind, that's your first alarm signal to say, hey guys, I need to be out of this place as soon as possible. And the best empowering proposition that we have in our hands is to go ahead and disconnect the call. Unfortunately, this fear of missing out amongst the Indian ecosystem stakeholders has suddenly taken the more important toll, and people want to keep on attending the said video calls from unknown people, thinking that if they don't do that, they'll be missing out something. I think we have time to come where we must now start inculcating an element of distrust and mistrust in everything and anything that we see, read, or hear. Let's try to protect ourselves. Let's try to have an element of cyber security as an integral part of our way of life as we move forward, if we want to avoid becoming victims of these kinds of digital arrests in the Indian context.
Dr. Vikram Singh, now the big news development that came in today was that the NIA has taken a concerted action in terms of 6 crack teams. Does this not indicate a welcome change that for long it was these scams and pranks were seen as localized instances and were dealt with on a case-by-case basis by the local police? But now it seems there has been a realization that this has to be escalated and fought on a complete agency-to-agency basis in order to ensure that this hydra is completely cut off at the source.
Very well. As they say in the army, the head of the cobra has to be chopped off. Good evening, gentlemen. And we could understand that the topmost priority was being given to this aspect when the Pradhan Mantri ji in his Mann Ki Baat said that, yes, this is one thing that we have to get away from the fear psychosis. And like as we drive down on the highway, we do 3 steps. If there's a red light, stop. Yellow, think. Green, go ahead. And these are 3 pauses that are extremely important. Mr. Duggal and I were on the show collectively, and there was has any agency come out with the fact that there's nothing like a digital arrest? And the answer was no at that point of time. Today, everybody knows there's nothing like a digital arrest. And I have also received 3 notices. Like the pandemic, it is difficult to identify a single person who has not been infected. Likewise, the digital arrest call also. If I have been able to get lucky enough to get 3 calls, you can well understand that the level to which the infection has pervaded. It is a very welcome measure that the NIA has come down heavily like a ton of bricks at 22 locations. And rest assured, the arrest, recoveries, and interrogation would lead to a gold mine of information. And I think, as you have said, the Jamtara came to an end. The new story came to an end. I think this also has a short shelf life. And as Mr. Pavan Duggal ji has said, the 3 new laws, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam, high-sounding names, but we are very unfamiliar with what the provisions are. And this is where they operate in the dark, and they take advantage of the fact that you're not fully familiar with. There's nothing like digital arrest. And if any it comes, it exploits the fear psychosis amongst us. Don't be afraid, as the PM has himself said in Mann Ki Baat. Be absolutely sure of yourself. Just disconnect the call.
I'm very glad that we have got a complete 360 picture of the entire problem through my experts. And I just have 3 minutes, but we'll try and make it as viewer-friendly as possible. I'm going to come across to all four of you. And if possible, I want you to come up with one key point that our viewers need to keep in mind, one key precaution that they should do. It can be anything from leaking, from sharing the data to dealing with it once it happens, or how to prevent themselves from even happening in the first place. Vikram Singh ji, since I came to you last, I'll start with you. One key advice you would like to give all our viewers about dealing with these cases.
Maintain safe distance from suspicious websites and channels like Telegram offering you quick profits, dating apps, as also suspicious looking emails where they will threaten you and coerce you into going into digital race. Just treat them as nonsense and don't attend to them.
All right, Ritesh Bhatia, I'll come to you. What are the key things which our viewers need to keep in mind?
Is that me?
Yeah, Ritesh, that was to you.
Ritangshu, is that me?
No, Shri Pathasati, that question was to Ritesh. I don't think Ritesh can hear me.
No.
But I'll come to you. Shri Pathasati, why don't you take that question then?
Ritangshu, okay.
Okay, let me go to Shri, then I'll come to Ritesh. Please, Shri Pathasati, please go ahead.
I would say go back to basics. What your mother told you, do not speak with strangers, do not share anything with strangers, and do not take anything from strangers. And whether it is online or offline, take that particular primary premise, what your mother taught you. I think that is very important.
I can say that my mother needs to also hear this message more than anyone else, given how much senior citizens are at the receiving end of this. Ritesh, would you like your turn? What would you advise?
Yeah, Ritangshu, I always say this that, on the Instagram, there is something that's trending, which is the POV, the point of view. So I would say here the POV has to be pause. Don't panic, but pause. O is for the zero trust. Whatever you hear, whatever you see, whatever you read, just have zero trust. Because once you'll pause, you'll have zero trust. You will automatically go to the third thing, that is the we verify. Go and verify. And most likely you will find it to be fake.
All right. All right. Pavan Duggal, last but not the least, what would be your expert take?
My expert take, stop entertaining any calls from unknown numbers. Stop entertaining any video calls from unknown numbers. The time has come that we must start going ahead and mistrusting all information. And don't worry, if you miss a call, or if you miss a video call, tomorrow morning the sun will still be up, life will still be the same. But if you are safe, if your data is safe, and your digital present and digital future is safe, then to a large extent, it will be a good, nice ecosystem that you will be actually waking up to.
And I would like to add just one suggestion was based on what she was saying. The next time you purchase something from mall or buy something, if they ask you for a mobile number, you do not have to give that in order to get your invoice from that. That's how data sales begins. Thank you so much, Dr. Vikram Singh, Pavan Duggal, Shri Pathasati, and also Ritesh for joining us on this short but very helpful debate. I hope our viewers also benefit from this. That's it on the Urban Debate. Shreya Upadhyay joins you on the other side with The Nation Tonight. Stay tuned.